Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to AD&D Second Edition Player's Handbook Read-Through. Today, we are going to talk about money and equipment. Yes, you may be an outstanding paladin with all 18 stats, but going into battle naked with no money for food, that's probably not going to end well for you. So let's see how to equip your character right now.
But what if I'm a wizard with a strength of 3? And clothes are heavy.
Then you have multiple problems. Multiple problems, all right? So we're going to start chapter 6, money and equipment. Although your character has some impressive abilities and skills, the wizard he was just talking about, he really isn't going to be effective without the equipment necessary for adventuring. To get this equipment, he needs money. Not only does he need money to outfit himself, but your character also has to cover his living expenses. Food is a thing. I mean, I have actually seen people hand wave the idea of food and water, which is ridiculous to me. But
that's the thing, and maybe you'll get, if you're going to get into it later, I'll save it. But it's that idea of the spreadsheet gaming. I think there's a balance in there.
There is. All right. Although there are many different types of coins and currencies in the world, all prices and treasures in the AD&D rules are given in standard coinage. Your DM may have specific names for different coins and may have different rates of exchange, but this material particular to his just like a lot of the AD&D and AD&D Second Edition game worlds, for instance, Dragonlance uses steel coins rather than silver coins or gold coins or whatever. It's the same type of thing. It's just drop and replace type thing. Like it still fits in the same hierarchy, just it's called something different. All right, so there you go. He will tell you if there are differences from the coins listed here. The standard rate of exchange for each coin is given in table 42. We're going to go see that. The base coins are copper piece and silver piece. Why? Because these form the backbone of the monetary system and are the coins most frequently found in the hands of the common folk. And by common folk, I mean like 90% of everyone out there will never have a gold coin. 50% of people who live will never even have seen a gold coin. Farmers don't get paid in gold. All right, I'm sorry.
My world uses white gold and gold.
Okay, then your DM see paragraph above. There you go. Above these two coins are much rarer gold piece. This coin is seldom found in common use and mainly exists on paper as standard money of account. This means it's used to measure the value of property and goods. Land values, ship cargoes, gemstones, and penalty bonds, royal court fines, are normally calculated in gold pieces, although payment of such vast sums normally takes other forms. This is like for example, in USD, all right, the dollar is the standard form of what everything is based upon. It's either more or less than $1. But back in the day, 100 years ago or whatever, $1 was a whole lot of money. Having a nickel or a dime is going to get you a meal and maybe a ride, stuff like that. $1 is oh my God. In the Wild West, $1 was, oh my God, I actually seen $1. Now it's more like $100 bill is like the standard thing, stuff like that. But the idea of the dollar is the standard example of USD, and gold coin is the standard example for AD&D, is basically what they're saying, even though not everyone has it. In addition to these coins, there are other unusual metals used in exchange. Most of these come from failed currencies. As such, they are viewed with skepticism by many honest folk. Okay, well, common folk. All right, common. Principal among these coins are electrum and platinum. These coins are rarely circulated, and most are hidden away in ancient treasure hoards. Electrum and platinum are more valuable than gold, but just like if you come in with $100 bill to a rural gas station, he may not be able to break that. It's like I can't give you change because I don't have enough in my register to give you change for this. You're going to run into that problem if you start using electrum and platinum pieces. Or some people are like, get the hell out of here with that nonsense. I don't accept Electrum and Platinum. You're going to run into that sometimes.
If it's not like some sort of big city or, like a seafaring port or something like that, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll be like, if you're going to give me this, I can give you 2 bushels of wheat. I can give you more stuff, but
yeah, you're going to get change in actual stuff because he can't give you monetary change. Yeah, that could be done too. However, remember that not all wealth is measured by coins. Wealth can take many forms. Land, livestock, the right to collect taxes or customs, and jewelry are all measures of wealth. Coins have no guaranteed value. A gold piece can buy a lot in a small village, but won't go very far in a large city. I never do that in my games. A gold coin's a gold coin, a copper coin's a copper coin, a silver coin's silver coin. I do not want to complicate the monetary system by having regional inflation. All right, I'm not doing that. And I don't recommend you do either. Unless it is a part of the plot.
Yeah, I do it for purposes of like, hey, this
to steal money from players. I know what you do. Shut up.
No, I do it for purposes like, hey, this area out here doesn't get a lot of metal. Yeah, it might have some blacksmiths, but they're making nails to keep things together, and a lot of things are built with wooden nails. So metal items that are made of metal cost more, but lots of food out here, lots of berries or whatever. So anything you want to do for pies or food, that's going to be cheaper. I'll do things like that to add life to the setting, but not as a means like everywhere they go. It's like, hold on, I got to recalculate the finance.
Yeah. That seems like a lot of unnecessary work. Let's see here. Okay, this makes other forms of wealth, land, for instance, all the more valuable. Indeed, many a piece of jewelry is actually a way of carrying one's wealth. Silver armbands can be traded for goods. A golden brooch can buy a cow, etc. In your adventures, wealth and riches may take many different forms. A lot of people, when they're moving their money, they change it over to things like art or jewelry or stuff like that because it's a lot more money in a much smaller space. And we're going to get into that when we get into encumbrance. That's going to become important in segment 2 when we talk about encumbrance. All right, so let's talk about money and equipment. Furthermore, in your DM's campaign, there may be special situations or considerations to bear in mind. The kingdom of Gonfleet may be at war with the neighboring principality of Busk. Patriotic Gunflinians might refuse Busk coins, probably because they think the coins are worthless because we're going to win, right? We're going to win the war, and then Busk is not going to be a thing, and their coins are going to be, dog crap. Practical Buskites might accept the Gonfleet florin at half normal value, so they can melt it down and mint new Busk drachmas. Of course, both groups would send your character to the local money changer who would cheerfully convert your foreign coins to local tender. Of course, he will he's not going to rob you. He's going to charge a small commission for the service. Situations such as these can affect the value of any coin. If your characters start flashing about a lot of gold, pumping it into the local economy, merchants will quickly raise prices. As another example, the local lord may commandeer most of the region's horses for his knights, making those left all that much more expensive. Again, if you do things like this to your monetary system, make sure it's a plot point and not something that you have to recalculate every time someone dumps 10 coins on the market. All right.
Oh, well, maybe you hate your life and want to figure this out throughout the week as well.
Yeah. Maybe you don't care about your time and sanity and you want to do that. Then that's fine. Go ahead and do that. Starting money. Good news is, everyone starts with some amount of money. There you go. All player characters begin with some amount of cash. This nest egg may be your character's life savings. It may be a gift from your parents to start him out in the world. It may be his booty from an army campaign. Perhaps he stumbled across a small treasure chest, whetting his appetite for greater and more dangerous prizes. How he came by his money is not important, although it may be fun to know if you want to do a backstory about it, whatever. You are free to create any explanation you want. The fact is, you have the money. Now, see what we do with it. To learn your character's starting funds, roll the dice indicated on his group for table 43. We're going to see that in a second. This is the number of gold pieces your character has to obtain equipment. Now, gold pieces. Again, this is the standard, what we talk about in D&D as currency is gold is the standard. All right. Now, are you going to spend gold pieces on stuff? Probably not. I mean, you probably don't want to start off with full plate mail, shiny silver engraved armor. That'll be lots of gold pieces. But most of the stuff is going to be bronze and silver, or sorry, copper and silver. Multi-class characters use the most advantageous die range of their classes. So we're going to see that when we get to the table. As a matter of fact, let's look at the table right now.
I don't know how many people I know that don't actually use gold as the standard for, at least for adventurers in D&D, even at first level.
Yeah. Okay, so initial character funds. If you're a warrior, you get 5d4 times 10 gold pieces. A wizard gets 1d4 plus 1 times 10 gold pieces. That is most likely because he has to spend a lot of money on his intense schooling and training. Rogue gets 2d6 times 10 gold pieces. A priest, they use their money only to purchase equipment and goods. Once it's all gone, you have to return it to your church because the church gives you the money to outfit you when you graduate from your clergy school. It's not your money. You got to give it back. Whatever you don't use, you got to give back.
And there's a reason why the warrior has, well, first of all, D4, but has, say, extra money. Armor costs a bit.
It does. Armor costs a lot, and we're going to get into that when we get into the equipment part. And standard exchange rates: copper piece, silver piece, electrum, gold, and platinum. Electrum is 1/2 of a gold piece.
It's a 50-cent piece, yeah.
It's a half dollar. It's a half dollar. And a platinum piece is 5 gold pieces.
Yeah, I have I don't know where it comes from. It might be Dragonlance. It might be somewhere else. I don't know, but I always, so for me, platinum is 10 times gold. I don't know where I got that from, but.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen it different, like you said, the just all multiples of 10. Instead of being multiples of 5. But the book
does say 5. And by the way, I do know that. I just make it 10, and I don't know where I got it from. I don't know if it's an old DM, if it's from a book, but I've been doing it for so many years.
That you just do it that way. And that's another reason why I like reading through this book, because like, oh my God, I've been doing this so long. I thought it was actually in the book, and it's not. So here you go. Okay, equipment lists. Now that we know how much money we're going to have, and we know how to exchange it, well, what can we get with it? Well, let's find out. The following lists include much of the equipment your character needs for adventuring. The most basic of these are weapons, armor, clothing, and outfitting gear. The other lists provide goods and services your character may need during the course of his many adventures. While most items are always available, your DM may add to or delete from these lists depending on where you are. Now that is something I can get behind. Unlike the changing how much stuff is worth depending on how much money you dump into a market. I'm not playing Wolf of Wall Street on paper here, okay? I don't need that crap. But if you are at some backwater podunk nonsense place and you want to buy full plate armor, dude, they just don't have it. It's just not there. I don't care how much money you have. You could give cheese from the moon. It's not going to matter. It's not there. Stuff like that does happen.
Yep.
And then we move over here. Okay. Many of the uncommon items in these lists are explained in the following pages. The price given for each item in the list is the average price, the amount you can expect the item to cost in a normal economy. However, large cities, barren wilderness, and places with brave adventurers carrying bags full of gold are not normal economies. In these places, you may find yourself paying more, very rarely less, than the amount listed. You can also haggle with merchants over prices, although to speed up the game, it's recommended you save this for your important purchases. If you wind up haggling over the cost of every tankard of ale, your character is going to spend more time being a penny pincher than an adventurer. But if your DM has a regional monetary system and is changing the prices over every town you go to, then pay him back in kind and haggle over every damn thing. So he can feel how pissed off you are.
Or do what I do and just say, no, that's the price. And move on.
And then I'll just kill him and take his shit for free. There you go. Equipment descriptions. Not every piece of equipment is described here. The vast majority of things found in the equipment list needs no description, as their functions, forms, and purposes are obvious. Only those items whose use is obscure or appearance is unusual are described below. Specific game effects of equipment are given in the appropriate sections. Stuff like, tack and harness. Barding. A war horse or any animal trained in combat is a considerable investment for the average warrior. Horses are expensive. Even a riding horse is like 75 gold pieces? That's crazy, especially when you're first starting out. Yeah. You want to protect your investment. So put some armor on that horse. Some people shoot for the horse.
The dog knows all about that.
Yeah. Therefore, it behooves, get it? Yeah. The owner to see that his mount is as well protected as possible. Other than avoiding risks, the best non-magical protection for a horse is armor or barding. Barding is simply some type of armor fitted to be worn by the mount. Full barding covers the neck, chest, and body of the beast, while half barding covers the head, neck, chest, and front quarters. Barding can be made from many different materials, increasing protection depending on what it is and increasing armor class. All of this, however, is at the expense of increased weight and lowered maneuverability of the mount. Remember, yes, just like you, when you put on armor, when your horse puts on armor, he's like, oh, I can't move as well. Well, there you go. All right, and we have the list of equipment. Belt, boots, breeches, cap, cloak, girdle. This is all just normal stuff, right? And notice, normal stuff, silver pieces, breeches, get the hell out of here. No one cares about 2 gold pieces for breeches. Hey
man, they can handle the thick bush.
Yeah, there you go. Riding boots are 1 gold piece. I think that's vastly overpriced. Girdle, 3 gold pieces. No, vastly overpriced in my gloves. 1 gold piece. Please stop. Get yourself a medieval wife. Tell her to make me socks and breeches and gloves, and she'll do it. And then it'll cost good cloth. This is I believe in the description it says per yard is 8 silver pieces.
Well, I'm sure you can get mittens for cheaper.
No, I'm sure. Knife sheath, mittens, 3 silver pieces. There you go, right there.
Yeah,
there it is.
See, making those fingers is the problem.
Yeah. Robe, common robe, 9 silver pieces. Sandals, 5 copper pieces. Copper. Going copper.
Yeah, but they don't come with Dr. Scholl's and those things.
No, they do not. But Dr. Scholl's doesn't exist yet. And we have daily food and lodging. Ale per gallon is 2 silver pieces. Gallon. That's not per pint. Gallon.
I mean, to be fair, a gallon isn't a lot.
But it's more than 1 drink, man.
Well, yeah,
yeah. A banquet per person is 10 gold pieces. That's if you're rich. You got banquet time. Bread, 5 copper. Cheese, 4 silver. A poor man's room is 6 silver pieces per month. A common room, 20 gold pieces per month. Divide that by whatever days you have in your game month, and it's going to be, under a gold piece per day. Most likely. Honey in lodging, this is per day / week. Common is 5 silver pieces per day, 3 per week. Poor is 5 copper pieces per day, 2 silver per week. They did the math for you on that one. Meal, 1 silver piece for 1 meal. Now, a meal, that's just the meat. I'm sorry, meal. 5 silver pieces for a good meal, 3 silver pieces for common, 1 silver piece. A meal is food, drink with enough nutrition to count for at least 1/3 of your daily goals. So if you buy 3 meals in a day, you're fine. You have all the nutrition you need for a day. Okay. And I'm not going to go over the rest of this. We have transports. We have household provisioning. If you want a barrel to pickle fish, go get them, Tiger. But, whatever. You want to buy animals. We got that here. Services. What's that?
I want a swan.
You want a swan? Well, get yourself a swan. You want a mourner for your funeral? Like your dad was a dick, but you want someone crying at his funeral? You can buy a mourner. This is all very Japanese, but
no, I'm hiring the mourner for the party member that we couldn't figure out how to resurrect, but we had the money for the mourners.
Yeah, we got that. That's not all the gold. Here, barding, full plate barding, 2,000 gold pieces. You're not starting with that. You're not.
What if I roll really well?
Yeah. Even leather or padded barding is 150, for crying out loud. Half padded is 100. That's crazy. Bit and bridle, saddle, mirrors, oil, Greek fire, a lamp. You need a lamp and oil, right? Well, lamp oil. Where's the lamp?
Can I have Greek fire in a lamp?
Lantern. There you go. Here's your lantern. Hooded lantern is 7 gold pieces. Nope. That's why everyone has where is it?
Torches.
Everyone has candles. 1 copper piece. Boom.
Yeah, but if you
Done.
use the lighting rules, you don't want to use candle.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Torches, 1 copper piece it's the same as a candle. It's a torch. It gives much better light, except it weighs a whole lot more. Now, weight. We're gonna talk more about it later, but as you can see, this is the weight of how much this thing weighs. You're gonna have to add this up for everything that's on you and on your mount, including you. You're on your mount and your backpack is on your mount. That counts. Now, when you see it 1 asterisk and 2 asterisks, these items weigh little individually. 10 of these weigh 1 pound. So 10 candles weigh 1 pound. 2 asterisks, these items have no appreciable weight and should not be considered for encumbrance unless hundreds are carried. Fish hooks.
Okay, an entire backpack of fish hooks.
You have an entire backpack of fish hooks. That's going to be thousands of fish hooks.
Yep.
Then it's going to weigh 20 pounds, right? Fine. Okay, fine. But until you reach hundreds of fish hooks, we're just going to hand wave fish hooks. All right. Have all the fish hooks you want. Now here's your armor. Now, the reason why the warrior gets so much is because of this. Let's see. Leather armor. Just leather armor is 5 gold pieces. And that's garbage. That is garbage. But garbage costs money.
I find that unless you roll really badly, chainmail is the way to start.
Yeah, chainmail for 75. That is actually a really good median point between the cost effectiveness type thing, where it costs much less than the next high, but it gives almost as much protection. So you're actually it's good cost benefit ratio. I like it. He's right. And if you don't want to slug your stuff on foot or on horse, you don't want to do it yourself, you can buy a caravan, or a boat. You can do that. A galleon even.
Can I buy people and make them carry my stuff?
You can buy people, porters. They're called porters, and they're on the list to carry your stuff. Usually it's up mountains or caves and whatnot, but okay. Miscellaneous equipment. This one's different. Holy items are small representations of all those things revered by religion: stars, crosses, hammers, whatever. Just what constitutes a holy item depends on the campaign your character is in, and more importantly, depends on the god you worship. All good holy items have similar effects on undead and other evil creatures, provided they are wielded by a follower that believes that that's going to work and is backed by the proper god. Thus, rules that refer to holy symbols and holy water apply to all similar items, provided these items are specially prepared by the cleric's owner. Some holy items weigh more than others. Depending on the god and his commandments, a holy item sometimes must be made of silver and must be a certain size. Whereas another god is like, no, just do the symbol and it's all good.
There's some gods out there. I don't think Forgotten Realms does this, but I know that a couple others do. What are they called? They're like penitence gods or whatever, where they basically make you wear a lodestone around your neck, and it's like, I don't want to wear that. That's uncomfortable.
No,
but that's
awful.
That's
part of the god.
Yep.
That's part of his deal. All right, and then we have weapons. We got through armor, got through stuff, transport. Now we have weapons. Now, anything with a number on it is going to be up to the game master. We're going to look at the numbers at the end. This weapon inflicts double damage against charging creatures. 3 is weapon available only if allowed by the DM. Like if the DM says, hey, my game does not have guns, then guess what? An arquebus is not going to be there. Sorry.
One of the things that we didn't talk about last week, and I think it's more appropriate to talk about now anyway, specifically to weapons, and it's one of the things that makes people a little irked with AD&D 2nd edition. I actually think it makes sense once you get into the full gameplay. Probably doesn't right off the cuff though, and that's if you look at the damage on the far right hand side. You have damage versus small, medium, and damage versus large. Let's find one that's got an obvious difference here. Some of them are a little different.
Here we go. Here we go. Harpoon. Okay. 2d4, 2d6.
Yep. The reason for that is because AD&D Second Edition bloated hit points on more larger creatures compared to First Edition. One of the things I laugh about First Edition, and you can fact check me on this one. We had an entire live stream about this a couple of years ago. I didn't realize that dragons in First Edition are
wuss.
They're a joke. Yeah. I mean, comparatively speaking, let's be fair. You're not going to be a first level party taking one out.
Compared to Second Edition, they are a joke.
Yeah. Second Edition dragons really beefs up the dragons compared to First Edition. So no wonder why in First Edition everybody's like, yeah, my group took out a dragon at 5th level. I'm like, how? like I suppose it's possible, but that's not going to be an easy task by any stretch of the imagination. Oh, it's because when we compared them, and to be fair, they're still powerful, but they're not like the hit point boost that AD&D did for pretty much every creature of large size, or every they wanted to make, this is my take on it, they wanted to make powerful monsters powerful. Give you something to do at 13th level that you weren't able to do at 5th level.
Great. Now, I'm glad you brought it up, because I was going to bring up, at first blush, this doesn't make sense. A harpoon that a person throws should do more damage the smaller you are if it hits. It's making a bigger hole, right? More of your body has been damaged. It should do more damage. Whereas if you're larger, like say a giant, and I hit you with a man-sized harpoon, that's more like, oh, I got a COVID shot, like whatever. It shouldn't be that much, but his reasoning stands. The larger things have an inordinate amount of hit points, and it's reflected in the damage done by weapons. Okay, and we have missile weapons for different kinds of arrows. Their ranges. Now, damage is the same. This is mainly ranges. If for your different kind of arrows, unless there's some specialty arrow that your DM has created, or specialty arrows in the Dungeon Master's Guide, like arrow of slaying or whatever, nonsense like that. Most arrows are going to do the same damage. It's depending on what they're being shot from. But what kind of arrow really makes a difference in the main game on range. As you can see, a flight arrow has a long range of 210 yards, whereas a sheaf arrow has a long range of 170 yards.
I see everybody always taking sheaf arrows, and I get it. But I would say, I don't want to say bad, I would say it's an unimaginative GM who's constantly, now dungeons are a different story, but constantly have players in a situation where you can't take advantage of that extra range. Whether it's, oh, the archer wants to stay back, so you're going to give him his own separate encounter. Ha ha ha, I screwed you over. Or everything's tight quarters by the time you see the enemy. I mean, he'll get into encounters in future weeks, but I always joke about the fact that so many people run counters like it's a Street Fighter fight. Oh, I rolled a dragon that you came across. Round 1, fight. It's like, no. There's so many different ways you can do that. I won't talk about that now, but you can start things at range. Give those bowmen. When I play a warrior, I'm talking just a warrior, or a fighter. I still take bow as a proficiency. Talked about proficiencies last week because it's important. And if you have those flight arrows, use that range to your advantage, even if they do a little less damage.
Yeah. All right. Here's something here. The pull of a bow. This is important. The power of a bow is measured by its pull. The greater the pull, the more strength needed to work the bow. Thus, it is possible for characters to have bows that grant them damage bonuses for high strength. Likewise, characters with low strength suffer the usual penalties when using a bow. They are forced to use weaker bows or simply cannot draw back as far. The pull of a bow seldom prevents a character from using the weapon, only from gaining the full effect. The true test of character strength comes in stringing the bow. The bow is strong hero may simply be unstringable by a lesser man. Heavier bows are not normally more expensive than standard ones unless you get into exceptional strength. Then they have to be made of sterner stuff, or they have to be made of they have to be made with
Iron reinforced.
Yeah, iron reinforcement, stuff like that. But this is important. If you have an 18 strength, you can pick up any normal bow and shoot it. You're not going to get any strength bonus to damage. But if you have a bow that is made for your strength, then you will get, when using that bow, you will get damage bonus for all of the arrows that come out of it. And people lesser strength than you can't use your bow as long as you take it apart every night.
I most definitely charge more for bows like that, but not exorbitant prices, but I definitely charge more for bows that allow that, because you've actually done something that in my mind, at least when I was DMing games, came up more often than you might think. And that's the idea of like, well, you dropped your bow, but that goblin can't use it.
Yeah. You could throw it at him and say, hey, shoot it at me. And he's like, break his arm before he pulled that thing back.
By the way, is my audio fixed now? It looks like it is.
Don't know what happened.
Well, yeah, while you were talking, I did something real quick, but if anybody out there wants to say if my audio's fixed, if I sound like a normal person now.
Okay. Now, according to the book, you don't charge more unless the bow is being strung for exceptional strength, 1801 and above. But, DMs vary, as you can see. He loves taking money from you.
I love taking money from players.
He's going to find any way to do it. Crossbow strength bonuses or penalties do not apply to crossbows since these are purely mechanical devices. Fair. Mancatcher, don't care. Owlpike, don't care. Oh, God. These guys are in trouble.
Why is he not wearing a shirt? Why? Look at that. He's not wearing a shirt.
I think this was a punishment mission.
Yeah,
these are all criminals.
Right?
They're expected to die. Then we have all the different kinds of pole arms, pole axes. These are all descriptions of armor and weapons. I don't really need to get it. What we need to do is look at the armor class ratings. Now, remember what we said earlier, that chainmail was a really good starting armor if you're allowed to have metal armor. There are some, if you're a priest and you worship a certain god, he may not allow metal armors, or you're a druid or whatever, you can't have metal nonsense. But chainmail, split mail, banded mail, or bronze plate mail. Bronze plate mail. Okay, do that. But chainmail right here. Chainmail, armor class 5. Mm-hmm. Fine. That's fine. 100% fine. All good. Chainmail plus a shield, armor class 4. You can afford chainmail and a shield. You want to go sword and board as a fighter? Chainmail and a shield. You start off at armor class 4. You're doing okay at first level. You're doing well. And it doesn't break the bank. So you can buy yourself a good weapon too. Now, you want that full plate plus shield. Well, we all saw what full plate costs. But I want my armor class 0. Okay, dude.
Save up.
You want save up money. Yeah. That's all I got to tell you. Chainmail, here we go. This armor is made of interlocking metal rings. It is always worn with a layer of quilted fabric padding underneath because it will chafe you. Metal rings get caught on nipples.
And so now the player that says, I want to wear leather armor underneath it and stack my armor, stab him. Stab the player, not the character.
Yeah. Several layers of mail are normally hung over vital areas, like, your groin or your neck, stuff like that. The links yield easily to blows, absorbing some of the shock. Most of the weight of this armor is carried on the shoulders and is uncomfortable to wear for long periods of time. That last sentence is so you have the players take off armor at night to go to bed. If a player wears their armor to sleep, easy. you did not get a restful night's sleep, you're -1, -2 to all rolls the next day.
Yep.
That's what you do. It's like, that's not fair. Well, it's not my fault you don't like, REM sleep. I don't know what to tell you. But what if we got attacked at night? Well, then that's why you have people on guard who are wearing their armor.
Or that's why you have a leather jerkin or something to give you a little something if you are startled and have to wake up.
Yeah, whatever. Armor sizes. Okay, now equipment list reflects the price of a suit of armor made for any normal player character. Although a halfling is much smaller than a human and needs a smaller suit, there are few armors available to meet such specialized needs. Thus, the armor of a halfling is as expensive as that of a human. Armor for non-standard sizes and shapes is going to cost significantly more. This is not the kind of thing one can pick up at a local store. So the idea behind this is every time you are asking for armor that is not medium sized, you are asking for a specialty build every time, unless you're asking for armor in the Shire. Then if you're asking for medium size, that is a specialty build. But small, we got that for days. I mean, we got giant Costco racks of that stuff. So that, depending on where you are, is important to what you can buy on the cheap or for, specialty buys. Armor size also affects the weight if the optional encumbrance system is used. We're going to get into that next segment. The weights listed on the table are for human size medium armor. Small armors weigh half the amount, while large armors weigh 50% more. So if an armor weighs, say, 10 pounds, medium size is the standard. For a halfling, it's going to be 5 pounds. For an orc, it's going to be 15 pounds. That's just how it is. More material. More material. Muumuus cost more because there's more surface area to clothe. Getting into and out of armor. Now, this, unless, in my opinion, unless it is very important to the scene you are doing it in, getting out of armor and getting into armor is something you can hand wave. All right. Now, obviously, if you're getting attacked, you don't want to be able to snap your fingers and have your characters just have their armor on. That's not how it works. Especially the higher level armors. Some of them even take assistance, like full plate armor. You almost can't put it on yourself. You need attendants to strap all of the buckles because some of them are behind you. Zippers don't exist yet.
I don't make characters deal with that unless there's some sort of duress. I just assume the other player or other characters are helping them out, or the guy's got enough time to figure out how to I can get the zipper or not zipper, get the strap, whatever. Yeah. It's only when under duress that I pull that stuff out.
Yeah. Specific to the scene that it's happening in. Some special circumstance. Other than that, just hand wave getting in and out of armor. It's not worth your time. Removing armor is much quicker. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like it says right here, a fighter could hastily pull on his Brigandine Jack, armor class 6, and charge into fray with an armor class of 7. Hastily donning a piece armor, plate mail, for example, improves the character's armor class by 1 from a base of 10 for every round spent dressing. So what it's saying is the higher level armor takes a certain amount of time to get fully on, up to like say 10 rounds. But for every round you spend putting it on, you're like, good enough. Well, you're going out with the equivalent of quarter plate or half plate because you didn't put all the pieces on.
You get dangling plate.
Or dangling plate. You get the corresponding level of protection. Now, again, unless it's very, very situational, just don't bother with that. Creatures with natural armor class. Well, they don't really have to put on and take off their armor, do they? For example, a horse has a natural armor class of 7. The AC of leather armor is 8, worse than the natural AC. However, if a horse is fitted with leather barding, his AC drops to 6 since it gains the benefit of additional protection. Okay, so unlike other things, the horse's armor class is a combination of thick skin, natural dexterity, instinct, stuff like that. So it doesn't quantify the same as rules for player characters. And they didn't want leather armor on a horse to be of no benefit at all. Since his natural armor class is 7, well, putting on leather would technically make it worse, right? Well, no, it should never be worse. It's got to have some benefit or no one would use it. So they changed the rules to give it a benefit. If the AC of an armor is equal to or worse than the AC of the creature, the armor class of the creature improves by at least 1. Okay. Good on you. Now we have encumbrance. We're gonna character encumbrance. We're gonna do all of that in the next section. Now, if you're reading that, if you're going through, we now know how to. We have the money we need, and we know what to buy. We need to buy clothes. We need to buy food. We need to buy weapons, armor, a horse, maybe. We need to buy chalk. Always get chalk. Chalk is amazingly useful and dirt cheap.
And a 10-foot pole.
Well, 50-foot rope at the very least. Rope is also very important. And all the fish hooks you want. That's what we learned today.
Don't close that out.
Don't close it. Okay. Next, we are going to look at how are you going to carry all this stuff. But before I get into that, Max has something.
Yeah, I want you to go back to the weapons descriptions or the weapons table. Because I think somebody called me out on a mistake I made, and I think the person's right. Well, I'll get to it in a second. I want to explain why I make that mistake. My first dungeon master is who taught me, and I kept the system going. And before I see all the comments that come up in when this goes to video later in the week, I think this person's actually right. But let's read the rule first. Go to where it describes this chart. I may have done the damage wrong.
Describes, you mean the harpoon?
Yeah, it describes the table. It's either right before it or right after it. Okay, it's going to be before it looks like. Okay, there we go. Nope, that's just... I don't know where it is in this book. So, well, I'll put it on the screen.
Maybe it's after. I'll go to the end.
Or it might be just mixed in the rules elsewhere. The weapons, here we go.
Size.
Yeah, read the weapon size part.
Damage, here we go. What, size?
Yeah, okay, damage, that's fine. That's probably under damage.
Okay, all weapons are rated for the amount of damage they cause to small and medium-sized creatures, S&M, and larger than man-sized creatures.
Thank God, I was right. I was right because I've had this argument before, and it's been a while. Because I want to put it up here, because I've had people argue this and say this is what it's supposed to be, and it's been a long time since I actually read the rule. I know how I play it. I know why I was taught that way, but I was wondering if I was actually right after I saw this because it's been a while. And Dartheic said, I used to think that damage for small, medium, large was for the size category of the creature using the weapon. And I actually still see people, well, I haven't seen somebody run AD&D second edition in a long time, but I've seen people do it, we'll call it more modernly. That's how they feel that it is done, which your comment made me second guess myself because like, wait a minute, was I the one that was backward? And because there are a lot of rules I change in this game. We talk about it, right? A lot of things I do a little differently. And I thought this might have been one of them, but no. Here we go. For example, a giant's longsword would do more damage than a human's longsword. No, I was right. He just read it out there, and Dartheic did say, I used to think, so he's not, you know, but now
I understand why you used to think that, because it makes perfect sense.
Yep.
You know, if you have a weapon sized for a giant and it's a sword, and you have a weapon sized for a human, which is also a sword, you would rightfully think that the giant's damage is going to be much greater than the guy's damage. And I would agree with you. That makes perfect sense. Absolute sense. I completely get it. And I am not going to poo-poo on anyone who plays their game that way. I am not, because I get it.
Yeah.
I completely get it.
I seriously thought we were going to read this and I was going to be wrong. I was like, no, I know I'm right on this one, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, the weapon size, the only time it comes into gameplay is depending on the person wielding it. All weapons are classified to a size category: small, medium, large, gigantic, and huge.
And I cannot
character
wait till
can always wield a weapon of equal to his own size or less. Normally, this requires only one hand, except for some missile weapons. If it's one size greater, it takes two hands. If it's more than one size greater, you cannot use it. For example, a storm giant is considered giant, G. He's got a mace. He drops the mace. You, as a human being, have also a strength of 25. You can lift that mace and theoretically use it, but not by the rules, because you're size M, this is size G. It's more than one higher than you. You literally can't use it in combat.
Well, it's also ungainly.
That's why. And that's the reason why. It's not that you're weak. It's not that you don't know how to use a mace because you're a fighter. Say you do know how to use a mace. It's just that you literally can't get the right leverage to do what you want to do. And you can't hang on to it while you're doing it. You just can't get the good grip. It's just not possible to do that. That's it.
All right,
Anyway,
we ready to hit the rest of chat?
Yeah, we're ready to hit the rest of chat.
Okay, I don't remember which super chats we started with, so I'm just gonna. First of all, because I know he asked the question again, do coins have weight? Thank you for the $10, Polyrobotics. Do coins have weight according to the book? What's that?
We're going to get in that in segment 2 when we hit encumbrance. I'm sure it's going to say something or other.
Okay. He says there's a Schrodinger's cat situation. In today's cover, fight winner, he's talking about my segment in
Rift's cover. Yeah.
In Rift's cover. So since the people watching this video are like, what? I'll pass that for now, but thank you, Polyrobotics, for the $10. CBK says, use 9th, 10th level spells to increase bag of holdings to bigger volumes. That's again about, I think that's about my topics later. Maybe? Because there's nothing here magical. But thank you, CPK. CPK also kicks in with Princess Bride. Was that during the video or was that before it? I don't know, but Heathen Dog made a Princess Bride analogy.
Yes, I did. That was before the video.
That was before the video? Okay. And I wasn't thinking fantasy, so I didn't get it right off the bat. And Mondo Hand just wanted to give us $9.99.
I just want to accept it.
Thank you, Mondo Hand. Okay, Darth Theix says, I think that Electrum and Platinum are best used for crafting, and I never use them as additional forms of currency. I think it just adds too much. Copper, silver, and gold are enough.
See, I disagree. I think that a lot of gold or treasure found in the wild, especially in ancient ruins or dragon hordes or lich hordes or whatever, are going to have more platinum and electrum because back hundreds of years ago, it was more common.
People were just trading shiny metal for shiny metal.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're going to have to work to exchange that because not everyone is going to want to exchange platinum and electrum because they're like, what the hell is this? You're going to have to go to a big city or a capital or whatever, to exchange that into something that's more everyday useful. And
I don't usually give problems for platinum. Electrum, on the other hand, I do. Again, small towns, no. Platinum is going to be like,
platinum is not going to work. Like if you give a peasant a platinum piece, he's going to abandon his farm, abandon his family, and buy an island.
Or not know what it is, not take it because you're giving him. That's not real money. I know what fool's gold is, sir. And that's got to be. But Electrum, I like to have players try to turn those in or trade at some sort of wizard. Kind of like what Darth Theik is saying here. Best used for crafting, not so much for crafting, but used in alchemical studies and so forth. And since I don't have magic stores, they have to find a way of turning those in, and a wizard will give them a fair deal. Everybody else would be like, I think that's worth something, so I don't know, I'll give you about half of what it's worth. So you get a quarter instead of a 50-cent piece for it. Again, that sounds like there's a lot of thought that goes into it. There really isn't, because like Heathen Dog, I kind of just save that stuff for, treasure hoards or whatever.
Yeah.
Not to mention disable the set town's economy. I don't know exactly what you were talking about.
No, we were talking about if you go into a small town and you drop like 10 gold pieces at one business, and now he can be a slumlord and buy up everyone's house, and it ruins the entire economy of the town. Yeah, dude, unless that's important to the story, don't bother with that. Don't bother with that nonsense. Destabilizing local economy. Shut up.
Well, so I generally agree with what Heathen Dog said there. I have a couple caveats to that. Number one, I think it could be fun to see how the player characters see how their actions affect other people. Like he said, though, if it's 10 gold, no. You know, maybe that's similar. You can always have that 10 gold taken away. Oh, some adventurers came to town. Somebody got some money. You know, a couple people from, you know, a couple thieves, a couple robbers come through and they start extorting people, or they start, you know, that 10 gold that guy had. Look at these adventurers gave me 10 gold. And the next day he doesn't have 10 gold anymore and he's got a black eye and you wonder why.
Or he lost his life and his kids are orphans.
Yeah, and his kids are orphans. Again, if that's important to the story. Where I draw the line, though, is when it comes to a bunch of gems and it comes to, we'll just call them the bigger hordes. If anybody wants to look this up, go ahead and look it up. Try to fact check me. Look up the richest nation in the planet. Was Mali in, I forget the century, 14th century, 12th century, something like that, maybe 8th century. I forget.
Yeah,
Mali.
the king was famous for throwing gold wherever he went.
Yeah, he absolutely destroyed Alexandria for like a decade. Because he just went everywhere and just threw money all over the place. And I think it's, if I remember correctly, it was a decade before Alexandria. You know, that famous city, we had a big library.
Bastion of knowledge, stuff like that.
He ruined its economy for a decade with all the money that he was just, you know, whipping around through there. Yeah, again, you can look that up. So there are times when I think that's important. But not for a 5,000 gold piece treasure hoard around a civilized area, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Pick your battles on this one.
Right. So, Polyrobotics asks again, how heavy is the gold coin?
We're going to get there, man. That's the encumbrance section. That's next.
Dorothy, yep, we already read that one. We did you first. So, Timothy Fairley, would you allow a first level character to take the blacksmith skill, non-weapon proficiency, and start with a better suit of armor for your background?
No, I would not. If you want to use a skill to make yourself equipment, you have to do it during the time when you start adventuring. So you're not going to start with it, but you can make it. The problem is that buying a forge or renting a forge is also expensive. Plus, you need the materials to make it, which is also expensive. And then you need months of time to actually do it. And I'm not going to allow you to have it before you start day one like everybody else. So time is going to be a factor. If you want to use skills that take weeks or months, you have to wait until a time skip happens. Or else you're making everyone, you know, wait weeks or months in a town. All of your adventuring party is basically twiddling their thumbs, ready to go, but you can't because you're busy doing whatever. So if everyone doesn't agree, then I'm not going to allow it to happen. And starting off with it, that's kind of like cheating in my mind. Kind of like cheating.
Yeah, off the cuff, my initial response is no. I don't think I would allow that. But I also know that I could be convinced through conversation. Know that you're going to get some sort of penalty because of that. You owe somebody some money. You're on the run. You can't find a fort. You know, yeah, you paid the points for that ability. But like Heathen Dog said, that ability is to be used in game with a time skip, or you know, where it's meaningful. Again, you might have heard me say this last week, where it's like, okay, I know you want to do these things, but you've got to spend your time making that armor, so that's what you're going to be doing while they're doing other things. So it's got to be something that takes you away from aspects of the game for you to do that. I could be convinced, but we would have to have a conversation. But off the cuff, I agree with Heathen Dog. No. And finally, anyone who's had to sleep in full battle dress knows you don't get the best sleep. It sucks, and parts of the body can ache the next day. You tend to be a little stiff. Well, there's your -1, -2.
Yeah, there's -1 or -2, whatever. to all your rolls the next day because you done messed yourself up.
Mm-hmm. I will tell you that I can sleep in a flak jacket and mop 4. I will be very clear. That's a flak jacket without the steel in it and without the med kit and all that other stuff on the stupid web belt pushing on my back. But if it's just mop 4, we used to be in that thing for many hours. I would fall asleep. And for me, it was good sleep. I don't know why I can, but I can sleep in that no problem. Once you start adding crap to the web belt or putting those steel plates in, I can't, at least not well.
And that's exactly what armor is. It's the steel plates, right?
Yeah.
So,
okay, that is it for the comments that I started there. Thank you very much for the super chats and for the comments. Heathen Dog, you've already told us, but so I can get this up here. What are you going to inform us about in the next video?
Well, wait, we just talked about all the stuff you can buy. Now we're going to talk about all the stuff you can carry. So we're going to talk about encumbrance. And yeah, you can buy it, but is it useful if you have to leave it behind? So we're going to talk about being wary about your purchases because, you may not be able to hold it.
And there are people with thoughts on encumbrance. I'm one of them. There's some people who absolutely love the idea of penny pinching every single ounce out of something. There are some people absolutely despise it. They think that encumbrance is the stupidest thing ever. And then there are people like me who are actually in the middle of that. And we'll probably have a few of those discussions in the next video as well. So if you look forward to that, please like, subscribe, and share. And I look forward to talking to everybody then.